All right, y'all. So I'm still eating my food here and I'm recording. Mm. And for those that don't understand that, it is time for the Missouri Day of History. We're getting into this for the 14th of January. Let's jump right in. All right, so 14th of January, we're going all the way back to 1868. We went to 1969 yesterday. Now we're going to 1868. Jumping almost 100 years back. The only typewriter in the United States is being used in a courtroom in St. Louis. Oh, damn. The first typewriters looked nothing like you would see today, but there was a revolutionary. They were revolutionary for the time. In fact, the device could even have a name when inventors in Milwaukee came up with it. But Charles Weller, a shorthand court reporter in St. Louis, is an acquaintance of the inventor, Christopher Latham Sholes, knew that there was a demand for the machine that could help court reporters churn out hundreds of pages of legal drafts quickly. So he ended up testing the machine first. So there you go. So it got tested in St. Louis first. Ding dang, out of hand. Later improvements were made by inventors Sholes and fellow inventors Charles Glidden and Samuel Soule, and the typewriter soon became the official staple. Office staple. They went to Staples. Of course they did. Weller went on to write a book, The Early History of the Typewriter, that nobody read. At least I didn't. Didn't even know the book existed. But there you go. So the first typewriter for courtrooms was used here in Missouri in St. Louis. Little known fact about the typewriter that you probably didn't know, because I didn't know it either. Now, here's the thing. How many of you all out there, since we're on the subject here of typewriters, I'm going to ask this. How many of you all owned a typewriter, or your parents may have owned a typewriter when you were younger? I did. I'm going to say that. I wasn't that young, or I wasn't in the I was in the generation, put it this way. I was in the generation where we had typewriters, and then we had, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of had newer typewriters that could actually erase, but they weren't really good at it. They'd erase a little bit. They would erase ink for a little bit, and then they would stop. They would stop erasing, so then you'd still have to take the page out and use whiteout. I remember having to do that a couple times. I think it was in the third grade, or is either third grade or fourth grade, because our teacher still required us to type. So we had to use a typewriter. And I remember we had so my parents got an electric typewriter. It was one of the newer ones. So I was in the midst of that, and then, like I said, I want to say it's either the third grade or the fourth grade, because about that time, because the idea, I guess, was to get us to learn how to type. And then about that time, computers started coming out, like the Apple computers, where we would go, if you all remember, like we would go in there and we'd play like different games, right? Like typing games, but then on top of that, we would play games like, because I think the teachers were still kind of learning the keys at that time too. So we play games like the Oregon Trail and stuff like that. Educational games, right? So for those of y'all that remember the Oregon Trail, and then things went from there. So there you go. I was among that group, though. Like, we started learning on the typewriter, and then as we grew up, so did computers. So I guess you could say I grew up alongside of the computer. When the computer got smaller, of course, where you could actually like use it in the classroom. Not like those big ones. Those were still before my time. But anyway, that is what I got for y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the history of the typewriter today and the Missouri Day of History. And you can also check out my questions of the day and my tarot card deck reading for the 15th. I'll do that later tonight, and it should be uploaded by then. And that should be about it. I'm going to try to sneak in a taste test video as well, because I got a couple things to try. And other than that, that's all I got for y'all for now. Be sure to check out Marthieve Maynor for his questions of the weekend. He's got some pretty neat ones. That's all I got for y'all. I'll see you all later. Bye for now.